performance adjustment or anything along those lines. David's the fittest of all of us. Bit of news happening in this paddock too. Lots to talk about in the wake of our first race today, which was won by Owen Kelly from Aaron Seaton. Not one to fuel rumours, boys, but a little chat around this Trans Am paddock at the moment that Cam McConville is interested in having a steer. I think he's just got to put together a bit of a deal at some point there. And maybe James Moffat wouldn't mind being on double duty. Now, I've not asked Moff that, so I don't know if there's any truth to it. That'd be quite cool.
I actually have spoke to Moffat, and he said he's doing the next round.
Oh, there we go. A bit of breaking news for you.
I haven't spoke to McConville, though, but, you know...
1-800 sponsor me. Call through if anyone's interested in getting on board. So here's our starting grid for race 2. Owen Kelly it was with his second win of the season in race 1 just a short time ago. Quick turnaround, Aaron Seaton in second place. Heading off that second row is his title combatant, Nathan Hearn. 4 points separating those two. What a show they have put on so far this year.
Certainly have. Zach Lachalpa, there was a bit of a stoush or a skirmish on the track in that he was the innocent bystander. That little bit of damage to the left front on his car, but a great job when you consider that work commitments yesterday prevented him from tackling practice 1 and 2, went straight into qualifying. He's just outside the top 10. Paul Freestone, a guy that's been around Australian motorsport for a long time. People that are familiar with it may recall him from truck racing and other things. Great to have him as a part of this field of 30 cars. Spoke to Glenn Seaton before we got underway, who is hands-on on the prep of Aaron Seaton's machine. Didn't give away too much, maybe a bit of tyre games here. I've only got 5 to play with over the course of the weekend. Let's see what Aaron Seaton can do in response to Owen Kelly, who was hard charging at the start. That was a kind of a good sight game. He got him going into turn 1. It was critical, Stubbsy.
And that was the result in the end. That was the moment that made the race. Owen admitted as much. So let's get this one underway and see who it is that will get them into turn 1 first. It's Owen Kelly on the inside in the red car. Aaron Seaton going to go around the outside like Kelly did in race 1. And look up the inside as well. Nathan Hearn right up the inside, 3 wide. And it's caused some incidents in the back.
Kelly's off.
Kyle Curtin's off. And Owen Kelly has overcooked the start.
Well, I need to get David's viewpoint perhaps on that, because it was game on. Nathan Hearn, a fast start there. They were kind of 3 going into 1, very hard.
Yeah, 3 doesn't go into 1 very good. So obviously someone's shot down the inside and probably biffed a few blokes out of the way. And unfortunately, the 2 blokes who were, race contenders they're off the track.
Net results here, you've got to take the gains when they unfold in front of you. Nash Morris is up into 3rd place, and Ben Grice. Good job by Ben Grice. They were tweaking that car between the races. It's only been a short turnaround time for teams. They were working particularly on the rear wing of that car. And he's got some good people in his corner. Ben Grice, 4th right now.
On board now with Ethan Thornborough, who started our last race, the first one of the weekend, in last position after an issue in qualifying with the alternator. He's worked his way up to 11th now from 16th in this race, already 5 spots. He's 3rd in the championship. That's important.
We spoke about Ben Grice earlier. I went actually saw him before the start of the race, and he said he started in 7th. And he said, what do you want to hope to get to? He goes, if I can get to 5th, I'll be happy. And he's already 4th, so he's exceeded expectations.
Yellow flag on display here. I think we can tell, naturally as they came out of 8, the change in pace for the cars. There we go. Shame for Owen Kelly. He's out of the car. That's our race 1 winner. Fujitsu entry off at 1. There'll be some chat about just how, what unfolded going into 1 there. So Nathan Hearn leads this field from Aaron Seaton. Wonder what's damaged and why that perhaps can't continue.
Geez, he's got a lot of mileage out of that Jack Daniels suit over the years, hasn't he?
He will be devastated about this after Bathurst as well. Race 3, we said earlier, a DNF there after a couple of podiums and a win to start this weekend, and now he's stricken on the side at Sydney Motorsport Park. But Nathan Hearn, what about that start up the inside?
Yeah, I was actually speaking to Owen before the race, and he goes, actually was just driving at 60% the whole race, and that's why he reckons he looked after the tyre better and won the race by a second and a half. But unfortunately, he's on the sideline looking now.
How's the calibre of the driving? Nathan Hearn in his late teens on double duty this weekend, leading this race. We've talked about Aaron Seaton and what he's doing with the Matt Stone team. That means some good drivers here, and Owen with all that experience from NASCAR. We need a break. We're going to come back with more from Sydney Motorsport Park right after this. our team in the pit lane will be no doubt onto that if in the extraction of that car, if Owen returns to the lane, if we can get to him and get his take on what went down. Meantime, we go down to Kim Jane, runs 4 cars. This is one of them, the car of Craig Scatella. So a bit of work happening on the right-hand side. I love the old NASCAR approach to some of this stuff. It's awesome, isn't it?
Yeah, they've got the 5-stud wheels. Well, they're technically a NASCAR, aren't they? We're racing them in Australia. They've got the 5-stud wheels that they have to pull on and off, sorry. So it's not like the normal supercars, which has one centre lock wheel. They've actually got to really like rattle each nut off, which takes a bit of time.
And the flip side too, we've just talked about the talent that we've got at the top of this field with Hearn and Seaton. Craig, 61 years of age, and he's out there having a real hot crack. Started racing at 59 years of age.
Never too late to start.
Exactly right. There's hope for us all.
Absolutely.
Hope for us all.
If it's your passion, you want to have, and I mean, Snubsy too. You know, to take that point a fraction further, it's a lot of money, but in relative motorsport terms, it's not. It's affordable. $150,000, and to think you can turn a lap time around here that's only a couple of seconds off what a supercar will do, so that's really cool.
Value for money, 525 horsepower, bang for buck.
Some of the boys actually say they operate on about $10,000 a weekend, which is, in motorsport terms, that's a very, very low cost model.
No wonder we've seen that kind of gradual groundswell continue. Hard to watch that for Owen and Marcus Ambrose and all the crew that work on that car.
I'd like to know what happened there. It doesn't look like there's an obvious wheel hanging off or anything, judged from this angle. Maybe the damage is on the other side.
If you go off there at one, I mean, because it's such a fast corner in Australian motorsport, isn't it?
It's a very, very fast corner. You know, you got a couple options when you run off there. Depends where you run off. You know, most people who don't know the track that well, or they don't know racing very well, they actually have too much lock when they go off, and when they almost like spin to the inside of the fence and have a big shunt on the wall on the left-hand side. But if you're a bit smarter, if you run off there, you kind of just straighten the steering wheel and just sort of gently redrawing the track down at turn 2. But don't know what's happened with Owen there. So he must have come together with someone and it's ended his race, which is a shame because, you know, he's smashed everyone in the race before, and he's looking forward to getting some championship points back.
Hearn was fast going into one. He was carrying a lot of pace up the inside. That was brave and daring, and they were effectively 3 wide.
They made a couple of changes to that car between race 1 and 2 as well, and you detailed it before. Let's not forget he's on double duty as well, so it's hectic for Nathan jumping between 2 very different kinds of race machines. A few other stories. Brett Holdsworth currently in 5th. If you've just joined our coverage here, we're obviously under Hyundai safety car for race 2 of the National Trans Am Series. Zach Lechalpo up to 6th. Matty McKeldin in the top 10 as well in that car that has been repaired after the big crash at Bathurst. And Eden Thornborough just outside the top 10, along with Tim Brook, replacing a fuel pump on that car prior to this race.
So under the safety car at Sydney Motorsport Park in race 2 of the National Trans Am Series, our race 1 winner, if you just joined us, is no longer in this race. Here is a replay of the start. Owen Kelly, keep your eye on him, 73, the red car. On the outside, Aaron Seaton. Watch for Nathan Hearn up the inside.
Doesn't really tell the story, does it?
It's hard from that angle. Was there a lock brake and then...
Maybe he's got a puncher, a bit of damage.
Oh, big lock there from that left front. So Kyle Gurton returns to the track, and that's another aspect to the story, the Morris Finance entry. So at the moment, he's down in 16th. Scatella's car has returned to the track here after some work in pit lane.
Kyle's actually getting a bit of a hand from Nick Percat, actually.
He was in there.
Supercars driver, a bit of a pep talk here and there, I think. So, you know, it's going to be disappointing. He's down the order in 16th at the minute.
So, set to go racing once again. Nathan Hearn will control the field. National Trans Am Series, 30 cars here at Sydney Motorsport Park for the 3rd round of the season. And they're about to unleash. Each of them have got 520 horsepower. They're about to unleash those V8s once again. Young, Nash, Morris holding down 3rd place at present. Away we go. Ben Grice in 4th. Good start, good jump by Nathan Hearn. And being being chased by Aaron Seaton. Just listen to them. Awesome.
They're good cars to watch, aren't they? They move around a lot. You know, those cross-ply tyres, they like a bit of angle in the car. They like a bit of slip angle where, you know, I think because, you know, cross-ply tyre, that was the older generation of tyre, and then tyre technology took off and they made a radial tyre, which most cars run on these days. So this is like, you know, the old school of racing. And they say there's no school like the old school, and you know, when we're watching it, it looks fantastic.
But big, taller sidewall. They talk about it being like a bag tyre.
Yeah, it is. It actually, when you drive, it does feel like a bit baggy on it. You know, it sort of rolls around and soaks up the road, and there's a lot of movement going on.
See how much they were putting down there coming through the corner. Of course, the tyre pressures, the temperature's down during the safety car, so they're getting pretty loose on this return to racing first lap out. Nathan Hearn still leading the way from Aaron Seaton. So the top two in the championship. The lead was 2 points coming into this weekend. After our first race, it was extended out to 4 points, so nothing between them. As he has a look up the inside, Seaton, but Hearn blocks him off and says, not just yet, my friend.
And coming into the mix is Nash Morris. The sectors that Nash Morris is putting together are tremendous. Now you can see him putting pressure on Aaron Seaton. So the youngster from the Gold Coast, son of Paul Morris, 2014 Bathurst 1000 winner in that motorsportsales.com entry, is absolutely in the mix here. Fastest first sector we've seen so far in this race.
Go Nashy. Oh, every time I talk to Nash, I always just end up smiling with him. So he's such a happy kid, and it's awesome to have him racing.
Riding with Seaton. So the line is covered on the run to one by Nathan Hearn. Aaron keeping an eye in the mirror. So he's kind of mid-track there now, isn't he?
Yeah, he's trying to defend from Nash, who's probably got a bit of a run on him, but he's also trying to attack to get to the lead. But, you know, after the safety car, all the tyre pressures are down, so it creates sort of more opportunity for us drivers to make moves.
And Ben Grice and Brett Holdsworth have entered the game here as well. Watching some of the Kubota entries come through. Christopher Formosa down in 13th as well. Back to the front. Tim Brook chasing Tim Shaw and more. That's a good recovery from Tim Brook. They're into the top 10 down the inside.
Oy.
Shaw catches it.
Maybe just run a bit more rear bias under brakes, and the bumps into turn 7, just unsettles the car and makes it oversteer.
Busy watching Dylan Thomas in front of him. He dropped a wheel, got it right outside.
I talk about the sympathy crash all the time.
Now, in that previous race, we saw a couple spin at about this point of the circuit on the exit of 7 before they get to 8. One of them was Ian McAllister, and he said to me that there was actually some oil down there that contributed to those offs.
It's a good excuse, that one. I've used that many times in my life.
All right, Jess has the man at the moment, Owen Kelly.
I do indeed, Owen Kelly. That was not an ideal start. Stuck throttle into turn 1 at Sydney Motorsport Park is not what anyone wants. What was going through your head?
Yeah, look, I don't recommend it at all. It's pretty interesting. Got pretty busy in there trying to turn it off. So, yeah, I think I've flat spotted a couple of tyres, and it's going to be interesting to see what we got left.
So with one more race to come tomorrow, how's that looking from where you're sitting right now?
I think I got 2 good tyres left out of what we're allowed to use. So it's looking a bit bleak, but we'll see what we got and try and charge on from the back.
Absolutely, but that won't be good for your championship standings. Is that on the mind at all?
No, not at all. We've had a couple of mechanicals over the last couple of rounds, and we sort of stopped thinking about that 2 or 3 rounds ago. So it's just race wins for us and having a good time. So, but stuck throttles are not a good time.
No, absolutely not. Hopefully it's looking up for you. Well, best of luck tomorrow.
Awesome, thanks.
Well, that's the takeout of the day, isn't it? Stuck throttle,
yeah.
Not a good time. Not at all.
The scariest time for any racing driver in their life is when the brakes fail, the throttle sticks wide open.
And in the haste to deal with that, it's quickly shut it down, try and control it as best you can, save an engine if you can.
Yeah, try and clutch it, turn it off as quick as you can, and lessen the damage and not hit a wall.
In many ways, he got away with it, didn't he? Without
Yes,
any
very
significant
lucky.
contact or involving too many other cars.
That's for 9th, I think. Thornborough on Aaron Tebb up in the final corners, and then you can see the long downhill run at Sydney Motorsport Park there.
So
So this is a good performance from Eden Thornborough and Kyle Girton after the incident we were just talking about with Owen Kelly. He's on the march back here, so he's in the 10 as well, and that's for position. Gets by Thornborough for 9th.
Yeah, did it easy. Got the run down the main straight, past him to turn 1. It was interesting to see when Owen was talking about, you know, he's got 4 flat-spotted tyres now. He's only got 2 for the next race. But generally what happens is you put all your flat-spotted tyres on the back of the car because it doesn't upset the car too much and allows you to still have the roundness on the brakes, and, you know, it's not giving the car that vibration I was talking about.
One thing that the Craig Harris team and Aaron Seaton clearly have been able to do with all of that experience is unlock the car in qualifying. Glenn bringing all of the, you know, he loves, you know, suspension and things like that. They in the cooler conditions at Sydney Motorsport Park last night, they had that thing dialed in.
Yeah, they brained them last night. Second and a half in qualifying. It's huge performance. You know, they'd be so excited and happy with that. So, you know, obviously, there's a bit of freedoms in this category. You know, shocks are semi-free and they run a different various springs between, I think it's like 500 and 700 pounds. So, you know, they've obviously dialed it in fantastically.
Now, we saw Chris Pappas, I think, off at turn 7 in the previous race, didn't we, Stubbsy, or thereabouts? So that's a shame for him at this stage of the game. Back to the front, and Morris staying right in touch with these guys. A couple of car lengths back to Ben Grice. But you'd take that 4th place at the moment, wouldn't you? Check our replay here.
Pappas into 10K. Synchronised
spinning.
Well done.
Getting ready for the Olympics.
Sport. You'll see that all on Channel 7. We'll take you there. Pappas at 10K, as we said, Anthony returning for his first race since Adelaide last year after COVID. Got a couple of those guys back in the field and a couple of debutants as well this weekend, extending our field out. So here's Seaton.
Back to first.
Keeping plenty of pressure on Nathan Hearn in front. We've seen this sometimes this year. 4 wins apiece for both men. They've been on the podium in every single race. Bathurst as an example. Seaton wins race 1 and race 2. Hearn wins race 3, but Seaton wins the round. 2 of the absolute gun young talents in this country, with another one, Nash Morris, ready to pick up the pieces.
Most definitely. We're back to Kyle Girton here. This is a battle with Tim Shaw for 8th place. Girton, Shaw playing hardball here as they run up toward turn 6.
That's a cheeky pass in anyone's race book. But you can get it done. Obviously, he's created enough opportunity for himself to pass him into the next corner.
Thornborough back dancing under braking there. Might have been a bit of compression lock or something, was it? Just finding it. Love it.
That's pretty good around the outside of Corporate Hill. Corporate Hill is actually, as a driver, it's got no grip. The surface is buggered. Like, it's very destroyed. So, you know, you turn into there and the car just loses all its weight because it sort of goes downhill and drops away from you as well. Plus, the surface just gives you no feedback. So it's a terrible corner as a race driver. So to go around the outside there was even less grip.
Oh, Nash. Just a fraction wide there, and it's quite brutal, that curbing that rolls off the edge of that final turn now, isn't it?
Yeah, because as a driver, you just kind of concentrate on getting the gas as early and as hard as you can to extend your straight so you can just make up as much time you can. But, you know, if you get too far wide, the curb drops off real aggressively and the car hates it. You end up half in the dirt and you don't get the traction to go forward. So, you know, as you can see, he's lost a bit of time there.
And across the weekend, the more cars that go off there, the bigger that gap gets along the razor edge, isn't it? Which can then cause damage if you hit enough times to your tyres.
It can do damage to the tyres and the car, so it just ends up digging away, and it creates like a divot in golf.
Probably should give a shout out to Dylan Thomas here as well in the 68. Started in position 8. He's putting pressure on Brett Holdsworth, and at the moment, Thomas is sitting in 6th place. Good job.
Another one of our more senior competitors, 45 years of age, Formula B production cars, 12-hour class podium. He's been around a long time, Dylan Thomas. Great to see him inside the top 6, as you just said. Great little battle here too.
So Kyle Girton, who had that drama at turn 1, he's gone from 16th to 8th, so he's done a fantastic job in a short amount of laps. You know, he's on the march.
Here's Tim Brook as well, that we detailed just a little while ago. They had, I think, a fuel pump issue with that car, so the crew were flat out between race 1 and race 2. Just a real tight window there to get that job done, and they weren't certain they would make the grid. So we saw him drop down the order. He's got some experience in a Toyota 86, and that car prepped very hands-on. He's hands-on with it as well, but by Wall Racing. And Paul Forgy, who's worked with Marcus Ambrose over the years, is assisting that car this weekend.
Yeah, Paul Forgy's a smart guy, man. Like, he very smart engineer, knows cars, no car racing, and yeah, he'll be setting the car up as best he can.
Morris looking for an opportunity on Holdsworth here.
Even though he wasn't really close enough to pass, it sort of indicates the driver in front that I'm going to put some pressure on you. That's why you sort of show your nose here and there, and it sort of gives the driver under brakes that you're trying to pass. It makes them sort of second guess themselves, and that's what he's probably trying to do.
Incidentally, Brooke has the fastest lap of the race, a 1 minute 35.78. So good performance in 7th position. Nothing in it up front as we count down these laps. Less than 3 to go. Half a second is all that separates Nathan Hearn and Aaron Seaton. Back to the battle with Formosa, out in 14th position. Hadrian Morale, you spoke about it at the Bathurst 6 Hour. They were just chipping away, those guys, in their Mitsubishi Evo, and were looking good for a really strong performance. And they had some fuel system problems, a massive leak from the fuel system in that car.
Been around a long time, hasn't he? 5th in this championship, 12-hour and 6-hour regular, 12-hour class winner, in fact, which is not a bad little trophy to have on the mantelpiece.
He's going to try and get a run on now.
Okay, hearing from race control that given the issue for Owen Kelly rather, and what unfolded there, that we will go time certain here. So this, we believe, is the final lap for you. So Nathan Hearn just got to hang on for one more lap in that battle with the Turtle Wax Castrol entry, because Seaton is on. He's looking for an opportunity. Under brakes down the inside. Hearn covers, makes it incredibly difficult for him. Lots more grip available there now, so the temptation is there, isn't it?
Yeah, as a driver, when you ever see new surfaces, it's like, oh, I'm going to fire down the inside and have a go, but unfortunately couldn't get it done. But yeah, and then they go to the old surface through turn 3, which gives you no feeling and no fun whatsoever.
You're in Aaron Seaton's head. Where are you picking now? Where's the place?
Well, you know, you've been following Nathan for... What's going on here?
Now, is that Mark Crutcher who's involved there? Spatella is off as well. Formosa, we were just talking about those guys. This is at one very fast part of the circuit, around about 245 k's an hour in 4th gear. On entry, we go back to the front. Opportunities running out.
So obviously Aaron's been following him for the last sort of 10 laps, so he'll understand where his car's faster than his and where it's weaker than him. But obviously when we've just had him on camera, probably the last corner is his next opportunity to sneak down the inside and have a drag race down to the start-finish line.
It's the Valvoline Dodge Challenger that has the upper hand at the moment. Nathan Hearn at the wheel and wheeling it with all sorts of pressure from Aaron Seaton. Top job drive of the day so far from Nash Morris. Looks like finishing this one in the top 3. Big future ahead of him. Hearn's going to take this one out. Well done from Aaron Seaton and Nash Morris ahead of Ben Grice. Lots of good stories to come from this one.
Yeah, to see Nash P3, that's a very good job for him. You know, I think that's his first podium in this series.
Oh, good, and back to 8th as well after the earlier issue.
And Ben Grice, fantastic performance in 4th as well. A bit of a lonely race for him in some ways, having to do it without too many other cars around him for a large portion of that end section, but a great outcome for him. He's such a popular guy, helps a lot of the younger drivers out as well.
Yeah, he's such a good family too. But sometimes when you're by yourself, it's not a bad race. It's like, there's no pressure. It's kind of like a practice. So you just trialing new lines, trialing different things, different curves, different gears if you can, things like that.
And he's literally hands-on with it. I mean, between race 1 and race 2, he was in there with the team, changing the rear wing setting. Let's have a look here. This might tell us the story here, David. So Formosa looks down the inside.
Oh, he hasn't seen
on Morale it was. Sorry, I beg your pardon. Oh.
That is fast.
So that's a 200 plus K an hour gyration and crash.
I think I may have said Mark Crutcher to begin with, just from maybe the car colour caught me, but wow. Eden Thornbury, you're riding with him here. I think that's Tim Shaw to your right.
Oh, no. Oh. Got lucky there, didn't he?
And Thornbury still managed to finish 10th.
Yeah, that's a good recovery given that, because he was well and truly inside the top 10.
Memory serves, there was a decent crash there for Stephen Richards some years ago. It's fast there when you come off 3, isn't it, to the...
Well, it's all downhill, and it's grass back then. There was no kitty litter. It was all grass down, and there was no, what do you call the tyre barriers?
Yes.
It was just concrete fence, and it was boom. It was a massive, massive shunt.
So Nathan Hearn returns serve on Aaron Seaton. One apiece for the Saturday racing here at Sydney Motorsport Park. Nash Morris rounds out the podium from Ben Grice, Brett Holdsworth. As we move over the page, Hugh McAllister getting another one up on his old man Ian in the father and son battle from Crutcher. Matty McKeldin just outside the top 10. Owen Kelly was the story of the race, our race 1 winner, finishing in 27th place.